Hello, Mr. J.
FairwayJay.
It's Marco. We have FairwayJay. How's it going, sir?
Jay.
Welcome to the poker stream, and you're joined by Marco, myself, Zach, and Jeffrey, who is a poker player who self-admittedly just donks off sports bets. So Marco was in the middle of one of the promos for your stuff. So Marco, why don't you kind of help out here and kind of explain what you were doing for Jeff and bring in Jay on?
Yeah, Jay, first of all, it's great to be talking to you again, sir, and thanks so much for making time for us. Earlier today, we were doing the commentary on one of these final tables, and the conversation just suddenly turned to sports, quite casually and without, any steering in that direction at all. And we were talking about tonight's games, and Jeff mentioned that he likes to bet on sports, but he's usually clueless. Yeah. And so we thought, because I told him about what you wrote earlier today, I shared it with our public, and we just thought, that may not have cut it for Jeff. He would like to benefit more from your insights, so we thought we'd just bring you on. So, Jay, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff Romano, aka Hurricane Jeff. He's an online online poker pro, I should say. Now, I think one of the games has already begun, but maybe we can talk about the one that's going to be starting a little later.
The Bengals, Marco.
Bengals versus who, Zach?
Baltimore and Bengals are playing right now.
Baltimore
and the Chargers and Raiders.
That game did just kick off. The Ravens threw about a 50-yard bomb the first play of the game, completed it, and settled for a field goal. It's 3-0 early in Baltimore.
Jay, what's the spread for tonight's game, Jeff?
-7.
Or Jay, do you know the spread for tonight's game?
Tonight is 7. Ravens by 7. The total went from 41. It hit as high. It hit 43 here at game time. So money came quite heavily on the over the total tonight. I did write about in comments Baltimore was going to unveil a more up-tempo, possible no-huddle offense, and they showed a little bit of it in the first series. And I thought the total would get bet up, and it did, but it took till game day to really start moving up. It was 41.5 most of the day, and then it got to 43 tonight.
So for all the people that don't understand what the hell's going on here, especially you, Jeff, and Marco, that's the total score combined of both teams, correct, Jay?
Correct.
Okay. So there's Marco.
You can bet, just a quick comment, you can bet the side. Most people are familiar with betting on the side on a game, so the point spread, the line on the game is 7, Ravens by 7, so they have to win by more than 7 for you to win if you bet Baltimore. If they won by 7, you'd push, and if they were to win by 1 to 7 points, you'd lose. If you take Cincinnati, obviously, then you win if they win outright, or by 6 points or less, you win. But the total betting, just to comment, the first 14 games of Week 1, we saw record scoring in the NFL. They totaled almost 50 points. It was 49.9 points per game on average. So we're seeing record scoring. That's part of maybe why you're seeing both these games, both the Monday night games have been bet up tonight on the total and in anticipation. That's not uncommon. When the public sees a lot of scoring, they love to bet the overs. And selectively, I actually played some unders yesterday with success. But if you understand kind of the game planning and you knew enough about Baltimore's going to open up, you might say, yeah, I think there could be some more scoring tonight.
Now, Jay and Jeff, I'm sure you guys watched the game last night. What did you think of Peyton Manning's return to the Broncos and his just total, devastation of the Steelers' defense? Did he not just run over that defense?
He was so solid. He was so solid. I can't. It was like he wasn't even injured ever. I mean, he's the type of guy though that I think is just like he's such a smart QB that even if he does get injured or whatever, and he's not even playing at 100%, he's still going to be pretty solid on the field. Like you could see how he's just changing the play at the line of scrimmage. After every single timeout and everything, he just tore him apart. It's pretty crazy.
What did you think, Jay?
I can nothing but admire. Peyton Manning's arguably the best and greatest quarterback of all time. He will go down and definitely one of the best. And Jeff hit it. Quarterback is about being smart, understanding, reading defenses, and delivering the ball accurately. And no one does that better than Manning. He's just remarkable. And having been off a year, he was 19 at 26, but he averaged almost 10 yards per pass attempt, which is very strong. Very.
Now, I gotta say, there's one guy who does deliver it more accurately and is better, and that's my boy Tom Brady.
And Tom Brady is, these guys they're coaches on the field. They're just they have a total grasp. But also, Manning played in a system at Indianapolis where he had the same offensive coordinator, Tom Moore, for so many years, and that certainly helps. But he and Brady have such command of the offenses, and then their skill level is among the elite.
Yeah.
So as I was watching the game last night, guys, I kept hearing the commentators that were doing it kept saying that they wanted to go to a huddle offense, and you could see that Peyton Manning definitely played a lot better when it was without the huddle, and he was just doing it at the line of scrimmage. So yeah, the guy is just he's an incredible quarterback, and like you guys said, he's a coach on the line. So jumping ahead to tonight's games, we've got as Marco likes to say, the Bengals, Marco, I believe, and
Raider.
That's what it looks like to me. The Bengals are like the band that made that recorded that song about the Egyptians.
Walk like an Egyptian. That kind of shit, no? Hey, Jay, who do you got tonight? Raiders or Chargers?
I didn't play either side tonight. I made a play on the over in the Ravens game, Cincinnati Ravens game.
Oh, okay, that's one of the things that you'll learn, Jeff, if you start reading Jay's stuff. You'll see sort of kind of more of the thought process behind what's going on, rather than just Jay straight coming out and saying put all your money down.
Well, I read his article, and I bet the Ravens today just because of Art Modell passing away. I feel kind of guilty about it, but I feel like they're going to play well.
They are moving into field goal range again here. I'll comment because Jeff will certainly understand this, and all of our poker listeners will understand this. Part of it, what I incorporated in the article was, if you're a cash poker player, you go into a poker room and you identify, not every game is created equal. In NFL handicapping or the matchups, you have to try to, in handicapping, you identify strengths and weaknesses and who's going to maybe run the ball more effectively or who has a strong passing game against a weak secondary, and you identify those things. At a poker table, you're trying to identify maybe a weak table. There's not as strong players, and your expected value of potential win percentage or to make more money is going to be greater, obviously. So I get a lot of requests about who do you like tonight or who do you want to bet tonight. Well, there's some games you got to be disciplined. You don't pass or you don't bet them, because frankly I can't make heads or tails of the Oakland-San Diego game tonight. There's so much personnel change on Oakland. It's the biggest change in personnel, new coaching, new top management, new coaching staff. You got defensive changes, and then it's some offensive line changes. And then San Diego's without the starting running back. They've also got some personnel changes. Their defense wasn't as strong. So you're kind of with Oakland's defense, one of the worst in the league last year. They'll be better, but you don't know what to expect on opening night. And Oakland, from a motivational standpoint, the division games are always of a little higher intensity because they know the personnel. They know how important this game is. For example, the Cincinnati-Baltimore game, both Cleveland and Pittsburgh lost last night, so the winner of this game immediately goes up a full game on everyone else in the division. The San Diego-Oakland game, most will remember, they played Week 17 last year, the last game of the regular season, and all Oakland had to do was win on their home field, and they'd win the division and make the playoffs, and San Diego had nothing to play for except a rivalry, and they knocked them out of the playoffs. So Oakland's got a little bit of redemption in line. I'm just not sure what to expect in this game, so I didn't play it, and I really didn't know what to think of the total. I thought it would get bet up slightly again, even though it's a very high total. I passed on it.
Yeah, all right, I like that. Sometimes I do the same thing where I don't know who to bet on, but I just bet anyways because I just want to gamble. I don't care.
You gotta play like poker. You gotta play that hand. You gotta play a hand.
Yeah, Jeff apparently has to see a flop when he sports bets. He likes to see flops.
Sometimes I don't know. Even if it's just like $50, it makes the game fun. I don't know.
Right on.
So, Jay, quickly, just from yesterday, any big shockers yesterday? Did we see any big shocks happen yesterday?
I'd have to say Washington winning at New Orleans was a pretty surprise. New Orleans was 9-0 straight up and against the spread last year. They won at home by an average of 22 points per game. They were the most dominant team in the league at home last year, and then they open up and get beat as over a touchdown favorite. What was really impressive is Washington ran the ball 44 times, completely controlled the line of scrimmage. The Saints only ran it 10 times. You just don't win in the NFL doing that. And they had to rely on Breeze, come from behind, and he couldn't do it. It was a I thought, an impressive effort by the Redskins, and obviously a strong debut by the only rookie quarterback of the 5 that was able to win yesterday. It was,
he sure played very well. Mr. Griffin III, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Right. And again, as you start to understand and dynamics and handicapping, I've been a long believer in Mike Shanahan, and he's needed some personnel at Washington, but he had a full season to get ready, prepare his quarterback. I didn't think RG3 would show that well, but he was impressive, and you don't want to overreact to one performance, but that was a big one. We almost had some real additional surprises. Cleveland had the Eagles down late. Philly had to score very late. It was escape. And then the Lions had 3 turnovers in the first half. They were down, and they did statistically outplay the Rams pretty handily, but they also had to score very late to win. And those 2 teams are also big betting favorites. So I guess, and without saying the Packers, the Packers to lose at home, I believe, I know the Ravens were undefeated at home. Let me just double check, because I think the Saints, Packers, and Ravens were the 3 undefeated teams at home last year, and now the Green Bay goes down in week 1 as well.
How good do the Niners look? How good do they look?
Yeah, they added their defenses. Obviously, we know that's real strong, and they've added some real strength at wide receiver. Randy Moss is now in, and Manningham. So they were impressive. And Jim Harbaugh, wow. I mean, man, he comes totally turned around a Stanford team and program in short time, and then he comes to the NFL his first year, does remarkable in a weaker division. And I said they can't win 13 games this year, but here they are. Week 1 was very impressive as well.
Huge win for sure.
Definitely great insight, Jay. You seem to know your stuff. I guess that's why you're writing for QuadJacks.
Yeah, yesterday I managed. Saturday I was watching some of the games in college, and I just take a lot of notes, and then I do a lot of box score review and recap review. And NFL yesterday I was able to watch quite a bit, and I'm tweeting out a lot of things and observation and some second half plays I would like to note. And so as you gain some insight, I put tons of statistical things into a spreadsheet every Sunday night that helps me recap and kind of see who was more dominant just from a line of scrimmage and statistical standpoint. And there's always a lot of talk about the upsets. I obviously look at games from the betting perspective. So it's about the line, because people like to make money doing it. And even if, like Jeff said, even if it's putting $20 or $40 or $60 or $50 on a game, I want to have action, and people rely on me to just try to direct them in some way, somehow to some
Jay,
thoughts.
Sundays are bigger for you than they are for me, and I grind 10 hours a Sunday. I love it. I love it. Usually I'm the only one I know working on a Sunday. It's good to know you're out there as well.
Hey Jay, just a quick question. Do you have a favorite team?
No, I don't. I'm from Minneapolis. I followed the Vikings for years. I never liked the Dennis Green regime there. A pretty big Twins fan, and I'm a Gopher. I graduated from the University of Minnesota, but I don't have. I can honestly tell you that from what I do and betting on sports, and I don't have a favorite team. I have some favorite players. I like you talk about Manning. I just appreciate how their skill levels and things. But the answer, I guess, would be no. I pull for the local team here, UNLV, and we're not so good in football, but basketball.
You probably end up making less money if you have a favorite team. I feel like if you bet with your heart, it screws you over in the long run.
Jeff would know this, and you guys, Zach and Marco, you know this, playing poker or being at the series. You hear people talking and giving their opinions all the time, and not to be harsh, there's a lot of comments that are just out there. They're watching games, but they don't understand the dynamics of handicapping or really betting and how point spreads are derived in following that. But the reality is, You can't. If you're gonna bet and make money, I hear it all the time. My heart, or I can't. I have a huge friend who's a huge Missouri fan, and he could never bet against them. And I say, well, you got to understand the point spreads and the how things change. But we are all fans in a sense. I just happen to do. I'm in this to make money, so that's what I do.
Sure.
Always enjoy being on, you guys, and we'll pass along insight, and I love talking to the poker players as well. We got a great following. You guys do a great job.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, Jay, I'm gonna read your articles every single time you post one. I'm watching you like a hawk.
I'll try to post more. I can't give all the insight, but I do try to add some entertaining stuff in it as well.
All right, good stuff. Good talking to you, man. Nice to meet you.
Take care.
Okay,
See you, Jeff.
thank you, Jay.
Nice.